Yo, congrats for your first 100,000 pesos. Awesome, that's a big milestone, yo. It's a big achievement. Here's some bread for you to celebrate. Cheers. Yeah. So in this video, we're going to talk about what to do with your first 100,000 pesos of cold, hard cash. Whatever I say in this video may or may not still apply when it comes to an additional 100,000 pesos. But yeah, let's talk about what you can do in order to make sure you're able to build a solid financial foundation so that you can make the most out of your 100,000 pesos for the future. Yo, what's up friends? Welcome back to this week's video. If you're new here, what's up? My name's Nicole and I make weekly videos on personal finance, investing, self-development, and other fun and interesting stuff. I recognize that it's a bit of a rough timing for this video, especially because Typhoon Rolly and Typhoon Ulysses just finished their onslaught, really left a lot of Filipinos in big need of help. So watch until the end of the video, or at least check the description box below. I'll include some links on how to help these typhoon victims. Yeah, lots of help needed. Anyway, yun nga, we're going to be talking about what to do with your first 100,000 pesos. First, congrats nga talaga. That's a big achievement. That's a milestone for a lot of Filipinos. But let's be honest, 100,000 is pretty small. It's not that big. So yeah, go celebrate, good job. But when you think about it, big picture, when you think about retirement, or in my case, when I want to pursue financial independence, 100,000, good, but not enough. It's not enough to buy you a car, a house, but it does prove that you already have the basic financial foundation, the financial habits, in order to save another 100,000, another 200,000, another 1 million. You have what it takes. I want to re-emphasize now, when thinking about what to do with your 100,000 when working on your finances, mindset is really important. I want to put extra emphasis on that. Mindset is the foundation of everything that you do. So I want to emphasize keeping it in your brain. If you're still working towards 100,000, you're not quite there yet. Reaching 100,000 is not impossible. Reaching 1 million pesos is not impossible. 10 million, 50 million, super possible. But even if it's possible, I do acknowledge that it's a lot easier for some people, but it's a lot harder for other people. But still, that's still my point. It's possible. It can take time, but there are things within your control, like your finance habits, that you can really adjust in order to help you make your way to 1 million pesos, 10 million pesos, whatever your goal is. Okay, awesome. Established na yun. I can do it. Kayang-kaya yan. You need an action plan. It's fun to dream, no? Oh, one day I want to become a millionaire. I want to own a house. I want to own a car. But if you don't do anything, then none of those things are ever going to happen. Figure out what it is you need to do in order for you to get you what you want. When working towards goals, I always find it helpful to work backwards. This is what you want, but what's the step before that, the step before that, and so on. So 100,000 pesos, in your mind, you can just make it as 5,000 pesos per month for 20 months. After that, you'll have 100,000 pesos. You can do more, edit 10,000. That will only take you 10 months. Kaya pa, 15,000. That will only take you 6 to 7 months. The key is in learning how to manage yourself and how to manage your money. Personal finance is really simple. In order for you to accumulate a lot of money, to get rich, you just need to be saving more than you spend. That's it. It's important that whenever you're thinking about saving, you're not depriving yourself of happiness, of the things that make you happy. No. When you're saving, what you're doing is that you're paying yourself first. This is you doing your future self a favor so that future you has a lot of money to spend and enjoy. Whenever you receive as your salary or some sort of income, automatic cut a portion of that, 30%, 40%, 20%, straight into savings, non-negotiable, and the rest is left for you to spend on whatever you want. You have to make sure that you take the willpower, you take the option to spend out of the equation. No matter what happens, I will make sure that I will save 5,000 pesos from my salary every single month. When thinking about what to do with 100,000 pesos, or even any large sum of money, one thing that you shouldn't do, I say this with air quotes because this is just my opinion. You shouldn't keep large amounts, very large amounts, in just a regular bank account. Why? Inflation. Traditional banks only give you 0.1 to 0.25% interest per year. Inflation, on the other hand, the average inflation rate per year is 3%. This means that your money, the purchasing power of your money, gets weaker by 3% every single year. Your 10,000 pesos today could have bought you so much more stuff 10 years ago, 20 years ago, as compared to how much 10,000 pesos can buy today. Which is why we invest, right? People think is that when you invest, it's only for you to grow your money. It's make it big, big, big. But no, we also invest in order for us to preserve our capital, to preserve the value of our money. Because nga, inflation. You gotta fight inflation. You gotta... Like, just some caveats, no? This would really depend on your circumstances. I'm not saying you should absolutely do what I tell you. No. It really depends. A student with no dependents and you have 100,000 pesos. You're the breadwinner of your family. Or maybe you're a parent and you have children. Whatever you do with the 100,000 or any large sum of money, it would really depend on you and your situation. So I'm not a financial advisor. I don't do these things professionally. I'm just sharing what I know. But even if I was doing this professionally, don't just like blindly listen to whatever I tell you just because it seems like I know more. No. Only you can really say for yourself what makes sense for you, what investment decisions or financial decisions make sense for you and your situation. So always do your own research. You are responsible for your own financial decisions. I have a lot of videos on my channel talking about different kinds of investments, but for this video, given that I am a student with no dependents, no stable job, but earning somewhat here and there with my side hustles, this is what I would do with my first 100,000 pesos. I will split it in 4 categories. So that's emergency fund, free-to-spend fund or opportunity fund, index fund, MP2. So first, emergency fund. I would just straight up put 20,000, 30,000 into an emergency fund. Eventually, I'll build it up more. A rule of thumb that people usually say is that it should be about 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses. But if there's anything that the pandemic has taught you, and with a lot of uncertainty, it really makes sense that you should like ipon a bit more. Maybe make it 6 months to 1 year worth of expenses. And I would put this in a high interest savings account. It's important that this emergency fund won't be invested. Don't touch this. Emergency funds need to be easily withdrawable. They need to be very liquid. Because they're used for emergencies, they need to be ready during an emergency. It's not really ideal to jump straight into investing when you don't have an emergency fund. It's nice to have some level of like cushion, some financial safety net that you know whatever happens, if there's something bad that happens, you always have money to draw from. Before investing, my emergency fund na muna. Or at least like do it at the same time. I will also put about 5 to 10,000 pesos in a free-to-spend fund, opportunity fund, whatever you want to call it. It's just cash for me that I am able to spend however I want. Guilt-free spending. Like, it's not bad to spend. It's okay to spend. But make sure you are spending intentionally and you're not like ripping a hole in your pocket and accumulating large amount of debt, spending money that you don't have. So yeah, I find it really helpful to separate an amount of money just for me to spend. This is it. Once this is ubos, I cannot spend. And if ever my free-to-spend fund is not enough for the thing I want to buy, like I said, it's always nice to challenge yourself with ways to make extra money, to make extra sources of income. Next, so I'd put 30,000 pesos in an index fund. You can choose to like lump sum this and like buy 30,000 pesos worth of index fund right off the bat, or you can also peso cost average like 5,000 pesos for a certain number of months. So I personally prefer investing in funds instead. I know, boring investment, whatever. I understand that there's larger gain potential when you invest in individual stocks. But, you know, there's still higher risk. I don't want to stress over my investments too much. Mutual funds, index funds are a boring investment, but they're affordable, you know? They're affordable, they're immediately diversified, and they're beginner friendly. So I talk more about index funds in a separate video, but to keep it short, no, index funds here in the Philippines invest in our one and only index, the PSEI. The PSEI tracks the performance of the top 30 companies here in the Philippines. So when you're investing in an index fund, your money is immediately diversified. So as an alternative to this 30,000 into an index fund, you can also spend it and buy actual companies, like individual stocks. But I personally just prefer index funds, mga funds na lang instead, because nga I don't want to go through the hassle and the difficulty of choosing individual stocks. Like sure, definitely there is a larger gain potential when you do that, but it also takes time. You know, you need to really assess the company. Is this worth investing in? Look at their financial sheets, etc., etc. But yeah, I just personally prefer buying a fund instead of like spending all the time picking stocks. Instead, I want to spend my time doing other things that I find more valuable, like creating videos for you guys. I would also put 30,000 in an MP2. So this is what I consider an underrated investment vehicle that more and more people need to know about, because everyone's a Pag-ibig member, you know? We're all required to be a Pag-ibig member. I talk more about MP2 here if ever you're interested in investing in it. But in short, it's a voluntary savings account for PagIbig members in order for them to earn higher interest than the regular savings program. And it only has a maturity period of 5 years. It's government guaranteed, tax-free, and best of all, you can start with just 500 pesos. Yas, investing has never been so easy. And that's about it. Yun nga, 100,000 pesos is not that big, no? You can only split it in so many ways. But one thing I realized when I started investing 2 years ago when I turned 18 is that investing is so anticlimactic. Like, you get so excited now when you're starting out, like, oh my god, I'm budgeting, I'm opening a stock brokerage account, I'm investing in mutual funds. But after that, you put your money in it and that's it. Like, sure, you have to monitor it from time to time, you have to rebalance, but besides that, a lot of like personal finance and investing is really just one big waiting game. You just have to wait for your investments to grow.
But Nicole, your investing recommendation is so boring. It sucks. What about crypto? I want Citibank. You made videos about that. Can't I skip all of these boring stocks, MP2, blah 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 that you're talking about and jump straight into the big money potential?
Yeah, you technically can. It's still your choice now. But coming from someone who has already tried putting my money into different unconventional alternative forms of investments and losing money in some of them, I really learned that it's still important to build a stable foundation of boring investments first before you can like have fun with whatever investment. After you've built some level of foundation, like okay, you hold some stocks, you have some funds, you have emergency funds, then you can start playing with crypto or start investing in seed that can potentially give you much higher returns. Don't look for get rich quick kind of schemes because they often do more harm than good. Don't get blinded by really high interest rates that can like really with your decision-making process, because with higher interest, higher potential return comes higher risk. There's no such thing as high return guaranteed. No way. Most of the time, they're just scams. If it was that easy to make money in the first place, then why do they need to get money from other people? Why can't they just put their own money into it if it was so legit? Right? Just like, think about it. Think about it. I keep emphasizing this. I will never stop emphasizing this. Hands down, the best investment you can ever make is investing in yourself. Don't rush into these things. Always study, educate yourself, level up your skills, because those are the ones that really give you the highest return on your investment. Right, I said that larger amounts of money are much easier to grow. A 5% gain on a 1 million peso investment is much larger than a 50% gain on a 1,000 peso investment. So don't just spend your time getting blinded with chasing the investment that can give you higher and higher returns. I think a better use of your time is really finding ways to increase your earning potential, earn more capital, save more money, so that you have more money to invest and grow. Yeah. We talk about money a lot, no? But especially during these times, there are a lot of people out there, a lot of Filipinos who need our help. So I urge you guys to extend your help in whatever way you can to help the typhoon victims, help them get back on their feet. Such big problems. I'll link some organizations in the description below, no? Wherever you guys are, I hope you guys are safe. Yeah. As always, you guys can follow me on Instagram. I post stories there almost every day. Like the Facebook page, join the Discord server. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Sorry for the eaten bread. How many takes na ako? To keep it short, we're going to talk about what you can do to make sure you're able to build for you to reach whatever you want. That's something I always say, no? Beep, 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 beep.